How's it going? Bring you another mayhem that's just been up on the channel recently. But I also have another one for you here. I've got Tag Team. Yeah, so we've teamed up with Brave for this one. And Tag Team's honestly a really fun format. It's one of my favorite ones that we have at TGR. And it's the basics of it is that you team up with a friend, and you draft a team together, and then you also like build your games together. Your records are together, so it's a really cool league. And for this one, it was around like kind of our version of monotype for Tag Team. So I have a monotype that I drafted. Brave has a monotype that he drafted. And our team together is essentially those types with a handful of Terra captains that don't happen to be them. So, yeah. So it was a very cool team, and I'm pretty excited to share it as well. Of course, in the background you can see some games being played, and if you're kind of following with what Pokemon are there, you might be able to guess at what our two types are. So I'll leave it for a moment for you to think on that while I talk about the rules and whatnot. So for this, we have a 10 Pokemon team. 7 of those Pokemon are shared Pokemon. So we have like 4 low tier Mons, 2 from my type, 2 from Brave's type. We have 3 Terra Captains that we had. I forget exactly how many points there were, but you could basically get like a high, mid, and low as Terra Captains if you want to. That was kind of how the points were constructed. And then our individual teams are 3 Pokemon, and those 3 Pokemon are from the 3 highest tiers. So yeah, I was pretty excited for this one. Once it got down to my draft pick, I was like slightly past the middle. Would probably be the best way of putting it. So a lot of the like really strong types were gone, but there was like fairy and water and fire and stuff that are in the pick. Like those are really good, and so yeah, obviously they went before I had a chance to pick anything. But it did come down to me, and I had a couple of really solid options. Grass was still available, which I actually think grass is pretty cool, even though it has like a million weaknesses. Grass just like has some cool stuff going on with it. But I was also Dragon, Flying, Electric was still available. I think that those were the main options I was considering. And it was honestly really tough. I think like Brave and I chatted about the type for a while, like trying to figure out like what do we want to go with, what seems good, like what pairs well with his, which his type, I guess I can just say that is Ghost. So our dream pick was to get Ghost fighting, and it would have been an insane combination, just like the Terra Captains being able to switch into either one of those would have been like hella good, but yeah, unfortunately fighting was picked like right before us, so that's a little sad. It is what it is though. So I took Flying, and it was mainly because I felt like there were some really good Pokemon at every point value. Electric was definitely on the table though. That was a pretty interesting option. But Ground is on like my side of the matchup, so I was like meh about it. But Flying, yeah, Flying seems really cool. There's just a ton of really good Mons. The thing that's nice about Flying is that there's very few Pokemon that are monotype, so like by drafting kind of a normal team, we could get kind of all the other types that are out there. And of course, there's a handful of Pokemon that are Flying type that like have electric immunities, which is like the main weakness that Flying has. So yeah, I was pretty excited about the option. And from there, I was just trying to figure out like, what do we get, you know? So I ended up going for Corviknight as my first pick, and I think that it's just really solid. You know, only 2 weaknesses, a ton of resistances. Being able to have the steel typing so that I'm no longer weak to ice and rock is really good. So it just keeps the electric weakness that almost all flying types have. And of course, like kind of thinking ahead, there's a lot of flying types that are immune to electric in some way. So I want to have that as an option. And then fire is a weakness, of course, but like, you know, whatever. Can't win at all. Next round, I grabbed Kilowattrel, and Kilowattrel I think was a really nice pickup. Obviously, Volt Absorb is incredible. Really fast. There's a ton of flying types that have tailwind, so wind power becomes really good for when I'm not fighting electric types or ones that don't seem to have electric coverage. I can get that extra damage boost from wind power. Yeah, just because like it can set tailwind itself, or it can kind of bring other things in to set tailwind. Oh, another reason I like Corbin, I didn't mention this, is that it's a little bit slower, bulkier, so it gave my team like some good defensive options and like a lot of utility and stuff. So I like that part of Corbinite. Whereas Kilowattrel is like kind of the opposite of that, right? Very fast, pretty frail, hits pretty hard if I can get the wind power boost. Kind of both mons that could intimidate the turret or debuff the turret in general. Like Mirror Armor sends it back to them. Competitive means that I get a special attack boost. So I like both of those for like really stopping debuff kind of moves, especially because like the two main debuff moves, aside from, or the two main like speed control debuff moves are Icy Wind and Electro Weapon, and obviously flying types are weak to both of those. So I think having those deterrents is kind of a nice option on the team. And then the third mon I grabbed was Tornadus. I just wanted Breaks or Tailwind. I figured, why not, you know? Like, I think there were a couple other options there, but honestly Tornadus just seems fun. I've never used Tornadus before, and so it kind of opened up the options for the shared picks that Brave and I got to maybe have some options surrounding weather. Just because like I have Pranks for Sunny, I think I have all the weathers actually. I think it's Sunny Day, Rain Dance, I think it gets Snowscape, and I think it gets Sandstorm. So like anything kind of became available to abuse that side of Tornadus's kit, which is pretty cool. And Brave actually had Stabilize, so he was kind of in a similar road there too. He had the option of like Pranks for Sunny Day or Rain Dance, or I think it's only those two. Anyway, so it was something that we considered and were aware of. Anyway, shared picks start happening, and we're like middle of shared picks. So yeah, we did not expect this next Pokemon to make it to us. Like we just thought there was no way. Like we thought it was still on the board because neither one of its two types grabbed it as their like tier 5 or their like A tier 1. And yeah, so it made it all the way to us, and we managed to get Urshifu Single Strike, which is so good. It's not like super amazing for flying per se, but it does break like steel types that flyings have a bit of a difficult time with. I have Corbinite, so I have that steel typing to resist fairy moves that could come at Urshifu Single, which is like pretty good. But mostly we really liked it for the dark typing to hit opposing ghost types, because Ghost was Brave's Terra type. And we like the fighting typing to hit the dark types, of course, that Ghost doesn't want to deal with, and the normals. So like Urshifu Single Strike just like really fit into Brave's type combination really cleanly. And it did help me too, right? I was going to be facing like Steel, and I think Dark was on my side of the matchup. So like it was also good from the Dark. So yeah, I don't know. I was pretty happy about it. There were a couple mons we were considering here, just like other options. I've managed to somehow grab the Single Strike in like the last 3 leagues I've been in, including this one. So it's just like, I don't know. we're on 3 in a row. So I'm looking forward to using it. I've had some chances to use it at much higher power levels, where it's kind of been it hasn't been the all-star of the team. It's just been one with strong supporting cast. Because I've had it for like our old type team, which was like Mystical Mayhem power level, and then I had it for Mystical Mayhem actually. So like I've had it at that power level, but this is like kind of normal where Urshifu is like an incredibly feared Pokemon, just because, you know, hitting through Protect is so good, and there's just not many mons that hit harder than it at this level. So yeah, obviously really good. And it kind of synergized a little bit with both of our teams, which is pretty cool. Next one we grabbed was Trevenant. We just kind of thought the option to have like that Trick Room option would be good. It's not super important for flying types. Most of the time we're pulling Tailwind, but having the option to like deny Trick Room, reverse Trick Room, it kind of opened up some like slower Terra Captain options. that like were really bulky and good at Trick Room, then we could do it. Of course, I mentioned weather earlier with tornadoes, so we can harvest citrus berry kind of stuff that we can do. Frisk is really nice to get some item information from Trevenant. And of course, Trevenant's signature move, I believe, called Forest Curse, adds grass typing to opposing Pokemon, so I can make them grass type, and then the flying typing hits even harder. So that was kind of a nice option that Trevenant had some synergy with both our teams, which was looking pretty good. And that was one of our low tier ghost types, so we kind of grabbed that this round too. And then the next two picks were the next pick actually was we were concerned about it getting sniped because well, I'll let you know it's a steel type, so we were a little concerned that steel might be weak in this mon because it's just got a really good ability, really broken ability, and a second ability that like you see less often but is still fairly good. So it was Revogroom, and of course Filter, insanely broken, being able to take so much less damage from those super effective moves is just incredible. It's just really good. And then it also has Overcoat, and Overcoat is nice to like ignore Rage Powder, that kind of stuff. Happens a little bit for VDC, but not quite as common. But yeah, Revogroom gave us a ton of resistances that we really wanted for the team. It's weak to ground, and that works really well with my flying type, but it also resists a lot of the other stuff, so like resists ice, resists rock. So yeah, it helps out for my resistances, which was really solid. Also gave us just like a little bit of a nice setup threat. You know, we've got shift gear options, especially with our Terra type of flying, right? Like that's really nice to get rid of that massive ground weakness, which is pretty cool. Or we can also do Terra Ghost from Brave side of things, where we can get that those weaknesses from that side, which are really not that bad for Revogroom. So yeah, I was pretty excited about this one, and I just thought it like looked like the best steel option from the low tiers, and we really wanted the steel option, especially for Brave side of things. So even though I had Corv, the Revogroom was really nice to give Brave that steel typing to help against like fairy types that Urshifu obviously doesn't want to deal with, and that he didn't have a resist to at the time. So yeah, we loved it. I think it's a really good awesome pickup for our team. And the other one we thought for sure was going to take in. In fact, I think there was a little bit of time there where we talked to the fire coach that could pick it before us, and they said like they were looking at it, and then we were like, well, we're looking at it, we'd be like completely in your debt if you didn't pick it. Like, that would be awesome. And they're like, okay, it's yours. We're looking at something else. And I was like, yo, that's great. So anyway, so we got Pyroar, which is perfect. Like my side of things, I have a really good mix of physical and special offense, but at this point in the draft, Brave didn't really have that. He had a lot of physical offense and like basically only Fluttermane for special, so we really wanted to have that special option there. The speed was nice, it kind of closed the gap that we had. For me, that would have been like between Tornadus and Urshifu, which isn't too bad, but it's nice to have that over 100 mon, that's really solid, or like around exactly 100, that kind of thing. And yeah, having the normal typing is good for any ghost moves that potentially are coming after us. Being resistant to ice obviously is incredible for my team. Being weak to rock isn't amazing, but you know, we can only do so much. So yeah, Pyro was pretty good. Really happy to pick this one up. I've used it a couple times in the past, but like being able to like either Choice Gust or like Choice Scarf maybe lock into Terra Blast, and then change my type later on to make that a ghost move or a flying move instead of a normal move is a really nice option to have for the mon. So yeah, so pretty happy to grab that one. And at this point, we'd already figured out what we wanted our last 3 Pokemon to be. So we decided on Dracloak, Cramorant, and Hisuian Braviary. And all of these mons were essentially like picked at the same time. Cramorant's like super low tier. I'm really hyped to use Cramorant because I just want to see Volt Missile. It's ability that if you hit a Pokemon with Surf, or if you use Dive, then you like basically get a fish in your mouth. And then if you get hit by something, then you spit the fish out at them, and they like take I think they like take some amount of damage, and that they also what is it? Oh, they get a defense drop. So it's got a little bit of debuffing going on. If Cramorant's like really low HP, then he like grabs a Pikachu, and then when he spits the Pikachu out, it paralyzes them also. So yeah, I don't know. A really crazy ability. Cramorant is like, not gonna lie, not a very good Pokemon. There's like really bad stats, but the ability is really neat, so I'm kind of excited to try it out and just see how it goes. Hopefully it's an interesting Pokemon to try out and use. Dracloak we like just for like some of the speed. Thought it looked pretty good. Good like utility kind of stuff going on with it. It's like, I don't know, I feel so-so about it, but I want to try it. Is kind of how I feel about it. And then I've used Hisuian Bravery in the past. One of the Pokemon, Tenny Lens, goes crazy, Therefore goes crazy. Mon just hits really hard. It adds some more ghost weaknesses to our team that's like partially ghost, but it's okay. Just because it's like that slower Mon, so it's kind of that Mon that can work in or out of Trick Room. That kind of helps, like Trevenant kind of makes some sense for the team. So, and that's the squad. That's the whole squad. We've got Corviknight, Kilowattrel, Tornadus, Urshifu Single Strike, Trevenant, Revavroom, Pyroar, Dracloak, Cramorant, and Hisuian Bravery. So this 5 flying Pokemon team and mixture of some other types is pretty hype. I'm very excited to try it out. I'm not usually a monotype lover. I tend to build very balanced drafts, and so this like feels about as balanced as I could get from monotype. You know, like I can't really balance things out from a type perspective. Just type charts looking terrible. Like we're just gonna be weak to ice. We're gonna be weak to electric. We're gonna be weak to rock, and that's just how it is. Is the short version of it. Gonna have to deal with it. Yeah, I don't know. I think it makes for some very interesting matchups and games. So if you'd like to follow along with our season, definitely stick around, like, subscribe, and all that stuff. And I'll catch you on.